Formula 1 testing is done, and everyone is dying to know where every team's performance will sit compared to the others. There are glowing reports about the McLaren and the Mercedes, and experts also rated Ferrari highly. So where does that leave Red Bull and the current F1 world champion Max Verstappen? The reports from the people trackside and from within Red Bull's engineering department aren't entirely positive. It seemed like they had quite a few issues during testing in Bahrain. This will make it impossible for Red Bull to win. I'm Wimbo. Here's 3 seconds to leave a like. The first report I want to discuss is the one from the race. Scott Mitchell-Malm was trackside and saw some warning signs. The biggest problem the RB20 had, the troubled 2024 car, was that it had understeer, which led to oversteering out of the turn. Basically balance problems where the front and the rear don't connect well with each other. Despite Pierre Wachier and his design team's efforts, it seemed like the RB21 showed these problems a little. And then Red Bull let loose a whole range of experiments to tackle them. Flow vis on the car is pretty normal during testing. We saw the McLaren MCL39 covered in it at some point. But Red Bull had different runs very late in testing with the green stuff on. That's not a good sign, according to the experts. Trying to discover issues and problems before the testing ends doesn't bode well, according to them. This information and what technical director Pierre Wachier said in interviews after testing is why the race ranked Red Bull as the 4th best team out of testing, a fast car that needs more work. So what did Pierre Wachier tell us about the RB21 and its testing? Well, I copied and pasted it here. It was not as smooth a test as we expected and the team expected, but it is better to find some problems here than later down the line, and it is why we are here, to understand the car. I am not as happy as I could be because the car did not respond how we wanted at times. Oh dear, Red Bull is fucked. But it's going in the right direction. Just maybe the magnitude of the direction was not as big as we expected, and it's something we need to work on for the first race and future development. Okay, it's going in the right direction. If we only go by these reports and how Red Bull's performance will be in Melbourne as it stands, then it might be a grim season for Verstappen, Lawson and Red Bull. McLaren had a way smoother testing period, and both Ferrari and Mercedes looked mighty quick in race pace and 1 lap pace. The way it looks now, it's impossible for Red Bull to win anything. Max Verstappen also spoke to the media on several occasions, and I don't know about you, but I trust every single word he says. We know he's a straight shooter and he doesn't beat around the bush. He doesn't seem worried at all, and that's something to go by in my opinion. If he says the car is bad, then you know it's true. However, he said the following: I think it wasn't bad, but at the same time there is still a bit of work to do. However, it is what we expected and we will keep on working and keep on trying to improve. Hopefully, as we go into Melbourne, we will learn a bit more by going through all the data and see where we are at. It is difficult to tell where everyone's pace is, so there's still a bit of work to do for us. We are looking forward to starting racing properly again in Australia. This sounds quite a bit more optimistic than what other experts and outlets have said about the RB21. I suspect a bit of wishful thinking on the part of some of these folks. Verstappen has dominated for 4 seasons now, and people want to see someone else win. Especially the people from across the pond. I don't blame them. I was exactly the same way when Lewis Hamilton dominated for many years. So I forgive them. I hope they're wrong too. Max cleverly pointed out that it's hard to tell how fast the competition is as we don't know fuel loads, engine settings, etc. To be competitive this whole long season, teams need to work hard at all times. It's normal. It's what you expect. I also read an article that Red Bull tested their basic car for Melbourne on the first 2 days of testing, and that they pushed upgrades they had towards the final day of testing to see where they're at. To me, that sounds like days 1 and 2 were smooth sailing, and when they tested the newer stuff, some problems occurred. This is all done to find a way in the car to unleash its potential in a way the drivers can use it. I've seen pictures of a big ass front wing with a gap in the nose, and I've heard that the floor of the car, which is hidden from everyone, has a lot of changes compared to last season's car. At first glance, the RB20 and the RB21 look the same. What will happen is that Verstappen will lose his record for consecutive days on top of the standings. That's over 1,000 days now. And I guess he won't win a few races at the start. And someone else will lead the standings. Oh well. He doesn't care about records anyway. Just prizes. I think Max Verstappen will be right up there, fighting for podiums and, with some magic, even for wins. And then the landscape will start changing. Through updates, obviously. But there's something else happening this season which will change the order. Maybe completely. We'll have 2 championships, I've heard. The FIA surprised us with a technical directive, a TD, to limit the flexibility of the wings. This apparently annoyed Red Bull, as they had been asking for this TD last year and were told it wasn't happening. And then it did. Red Bull had wasted valuable resources on this wing, which will need to change by race 9. The FIA gave the teams this much time to adapt and roll out new wings. So what will happen is that some teams might be amazing with the flexi wings and a lot less so without them. I guess that seeing Verstappen win 9 races last season without his flexi wing, they are fast without it and only need to build on that. McLaren and Mercedes made in-season leaps with those wings, but that could easily be a leap backwards when the wings are normal again. So that's giving me a bit of hope. Also, I've seen Red Bull catch up many times during a season with a working upgrade. They played catch up with Mercedes for many years. I have trust in them to do it, even without Adrian Newey there. Then there's the mini DRS. That was a space that appeared in the rear of the McLaren last season when the DRS was closed, and at high speed, it opened a little. This was soon banned, but during testing it popped up again, or it popped open again. The FIA is set to impose stricter measures to monitor rear wing flexing. This comes after complaints that some teams are still using mini DRS. So that benefit is out of the door as well for certain teams. Now, in this video, I don't want to do a whole rant about the British media not calling this cheating and such, and if Red Bull did it they cry foul. That's not this video, for once. All in all, I have a good hope for Max Verstappen this season, even if it takes a few races before he starts winning. So to clarify my somewhat clickbaity title, I think it's impossible for Red Bull to win early in the season. The season is 24 races and Verstappen can win at least 10. What do you think? Please subscribe, and if you want extra content and early access, I have memberships open. Try it for a while, it's fun. Take care now. Doei doei.